let's go imagining together to a place so old it's always new. We'll tell a tale, my friends, to you, and share a smile before we're through, and share a smile before we're through. Bum, 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 bum.
Today's story is about being tricked. I mean, you know what that feels like, right? Well, when I was a little boy, my brother Ed and I used to race all the time. Ed's idea of racing would be to go out and take all these little shortcuts, and he'd always win. He always tricked me. Now, tricking somebody is never fair, and being tricked is never any fun. But sometimes, if you've been tricked, you can turn that trick around to your own advantage. Like in today's story, it's called The Sorcerer's Boy. Now, long ago, in a village in Russia, there lived a poor widow who had a son named Peter. Now, the widow had very little money and could not afford to keep her son at home, so she went looking for someone to take him as an apprentice. Apprentices often lived with master craftsmen, where they learned a trade, and the widow hoped that Peter could learn to become a silversmith or a tailor, or even a miller, if only someone would take him in and train him. She went from town to town, but all the master craftsmen already had their apprentices and could not take on another boy. Tired and weary, the widow and Peter were making their way home when they met a striking gentleman on the road. He had a certain smile and a look about his eyes. "Good afternoon." "And a good afternoon to you, kind sir," Peter's mother said, taking Peter's hand. "And where might you be going?" "Sad to say, we are going home. For many days I have been looking for some master to take my boy Peter here as an apprentice. I have so little money, I cannot afford to raise him myself. He's a bright and capable boy who deserves a good home and a chance to learn a trade." "How old are you, my son?" The man spoke softly and gently. "I am a teacher. I always have room for one more pupil." "Peter is almost 12 years old. He learns very quickly. He works hard, don't you, Peter?" Well, I hope he is all you say he is, for I shall give him a try. I shall take him for 3 years. If he is a good student, you might not recognize him in 3 years. And now, Peter, if you are ready, we can begin right away. Good day, madam. Meet me here in 3 years. I shall have Peter with me, and we shall see what we shall see." Peter left with the gentleman, and the widow turned slowly and began making her way home. She was lonely without Peter, but at the same time, she was happy for him. The widow counted the lonely days as 3 years passed. Finally, the last day of the 3rd year passed, and the widow set off down the road to meet Peter and his master. When she arrived at the spot, she saw only the gentleman. "Where is my boy, Peter?" The man looked at her with a strange smile. "He's here." "Is he hiding?" "No, he's very near you this instant. You see, Peter is now changed. If you can recognize him among all the others, you may have him back." "You are crazy! What have you done to my son? Where is he?" "I told you, he's right before your eyes." On the ground near her sat several brown toads. At that moment, one of them hopped upon the widow's foot. "Oh, shoo, go away!" "Stupid woman, you cannot recognize your own son. That was Peter who landed on your foot, and you shooed him away. Shame on you, for you shall not see him again for another 3 years. Do you see all those other little toadies? They are also boys whose mothers did not know them. Now they are mine forever. If in 3 more years you still do not know your own son, he will also become mine forever. Now go home and work at being a little smarter the next time we meet. Good day. Come, Peter. Come, Ivan. Come, Nikolai, Boris, Vladimir." The man left with his toads, hopping behind. For the next 3 years, the poor widow lived as best she could, selling milk and eggs and taking in washing for others. Again she counted the days until at last 3 years had passed. With haste she made her way down the road to the place where she was to meet the strange man. When she got there, the man was standing under a tree. "Where is my son Peter?" "Yes, where is your son Peter?" "Well, look above you in the tree. Do you see 7 white doves? Well, one of them is Peter. Now you tell me which." This time the widow listened with all her heart. She looked into the tree. 7 identical white doves looked pleadingly down at her. Each seemed to say, "Please, choose me." Then one dove put its head under its wing. The widow took a quick breath. Oh, could that one be Peter? She dared to guess. "That's Peter, the one with its head under its wing." "Are you sure?" "Yes," though she really wasn't. "Well, lucky for you, you guessed correctly. But you got a signal. You would never have guessed without the signal. Well, you may have your son back. But mind you, I shall do everything in my power to take him from you. And my power is considerable." At that moment, the dove turned into a handsome young man who climbed down out of the tree. It was Peter, 6 years older. When they arrived home, Peter had so much to tell his mother that the words came tumbling out. "Oh, Mother, the man is a sorcerer, a wizard. He made me work for him. He whipped me. He fed me only enough to keep me alive. And, oh, all the other poor boys, Boris and Ivan and the others, they are his slaves for life." Peter had not learned to read or write. He had learned nothing but hard work and a few tricks from watching his master. One day, Peter had an idea. "Mother, we need money, right?" "Oh, we always need money." "Well, I think I can work out a trick which will bring us some money. I remember how the old wizard used to turn us into horses when he wanted heavy work done. Now, do we still have that old bridle in the barn?" Peter's mother got the bridle, and Peter explained. "Now, I will turn myself into a horse. Take me to the market and sell me for $400. I will be a splendid horse, and someone will surely buy me. But by no means sell the bridle. Keep the bridle, for it is the only thing which will return me to you. Don't sell the bridle." So Peter put on the bridle and said the words, "Shaman of the 7th seal, and Solomon's medallion, grant your servants one appeal and make of him a stallion." Suddenly, standing before the widow was a shiny black stallion. "Now, Mother, take me to the market and sell me. Keep the bridle, and when you return home, rub it and say, 'Return my son,' and I shall reappear as Peter." So the widow took the horse to market. Many people gathered around them to marvel at the beautiful, proud stallion. One man, whom the widow failed to recognize, came forward and bought the horse. She took his money and started to remove the bridle from the horse. "Wait a minute, how do you expect me to lead the horse without a bridle?" "Well, I only sold you the horse, not the bridle." "Well, how much for the bridle?" "It's not for sale."
"I said how much for the bridle?"
"I said it's not for sale." The widow started to pull the bridle from the horse when the man snatched the lead from her hand, jumped on the horse, and sped away. "My son! He took my son!" screamed the widow over and over. The people in the market thought she was crazy, and they backed away from her, leaving her all alone. All she could do was go home with the $400, and without Peter, she would never see him again. She had lost the bridle. On the road, the man raced the poor horse as fast and as hard as he could. "Thought you were clever, didn't you? Giving your stupid old mother a signal. I'll teach you. You're no better than all my other boys. You'll pay for acting out of turn. You'll pay, Peter. You'll never be a man again. The bridle will stay on you forever." 4 days of hard riding later, they reached the sorcerer's castle. The sorcerer tied the horse to a tree so tightly that he almost strangled him. And there he left him for 2 days, without food or water. On the 3rd day, the horse was nearly dead. He was struggling to breathe,
and the pains of hunger shook his tired body. He heard a noise, and then a whisper. "Peter, Peter, is it you?" "Yes, Ivan? Yes, it is Ivan. I've stolen away from the master. He is asleep in his study. He left the door unlocked, so I got out. You look terrible, poor Peter. We were all so happy when you got away on the day of the white doves. But now you are back. Oh, please, Ivan, help me. Bring me some food." I can't do that. I would get caught. But I will do one thing. I will set you free." Ivan untied the bridle from the tree, then slipped it loose from the horse's head. "Go now, run! It's your only chance for freedom." Some hours later, the sorcerer took his whip and went out to beat the horse, but found him gone. With an angry snarl, the sorcerer turned himself into a wolf. "I'll get him for good, and this time I'll eat him. He'll never escape again." Following the horse's scent, the wolf moved quietly and quickly through field and forest until he spotted the horse grazing in a meadow. He dashed forward. The horse saw him coming and galloped off. The chase was on, the wolf gaining steadily on the horse. Just as the wolf leaped up onto the horse, Peter turned himself into a sparrow and flew up into the sky, leaving the wolf clawing the air. The wolf then turned himself into an eagle and flew after the sparrow, while the sparrow darted right and left to avoid the terrible claws of the eagle. Then he spotted a tree under which sat a beautiful girl. He darted down and lit among the lower branches. The eagle perched upon one of the topmost branches. The sparrow hopped down upon the girl's hand. "Help me, please!" "Oh, you darling little sparrow, where did you come from?" At that moment, the eagle turned himself into a young, handsome man and climbed down from the tree. "Excuse me, lady, but you have my sparrow." "Your sparrow? It just hopped onto my hand. I wasn't trying to take it." She didn't like the tone of the man's voice. "All the same, you have my sparrow. I'd like it back, thank you." Just as she was about to hand the sparrow to the man, the sparrow turned into 100 grains of wheat and sifted between her fingers to fall upon the ground at her feet. When that happened, the man turned into a chicken and began pecking away at the grains of wheat. 1 grain of wheat remained in the girl's palm. It jumped and split and swelled like a huge piece of popping corn, and then turned into a large, ferocious cat which pounced upon the chicken, killing it immediately. "There!" exclaimed the cat. "He is done for. He is gone for good." And the cat turned into Peter, proud and handsome. He explained to the beautiful girl all that had happened, how the sorcerer had imprisoned young boys and forced them to work for him. How good he felt. He had defeated the master at his own game. The beautiful girl explained that she was the lonely daughter of a wealthy duke, and that she was happy for the first time. Peter promised to return within a few days. But first he went to the sorcerer's castle and released all the boys. Then he went home to his mother. Some months later, Peter and the duke's daughter were married. He gave up his magic since he no longer needed it, and never again were poor young boys taken away as slaves, for Peter had killed the last evil sorcerer in the country.